Okay, I want to understand what they're asking for. And the first thing I see is they give me this over here. I see that, and then I see this over here, and I see two different things, by the way. But then they said there's some figure to look at as well. And I want to do that and see if I see anything in the figure that's going to help me out at all. So let's go to the figure, and I see this over here, and it says the graph is related to both A and the B. All right, and why is that? I think both of those things have something to do with f of x. So what I want to do is, write down what they're asking me to do. All right, so the first thing, what a of x is, I'll put this over here. And what's that going to be? An integration from 0 to x. You know what? That's kind of screwed up in the pen department. Let me get my eraser and do it again. 0 to x, f of t, and then dt. All right? So, I want to look at it. And sometimes while you're looking at these things, I want to see what's going on here. So let's take a look at it. And I'm starting at 0, and I go up to some value x. And I'll do this over here. And if I did that, looking at it, I don't know where x is. I'm just saying if I did that, I'd get something like this over here, which looks kind of complicated to me because I'll be honest with you, it really kind of depends where x is, all right? So what I'd have to say is that, if x is between 0 and 1, all right? So I'm going to say if the x is between 0 and 1. Let me write this down for you. All right, if that's true, all right? By the way, including 1 or not including 1 doesn't matter. So you could also say this over here. What would it be? Well, looking at it, I'm looking at this over here. And it really depends on where x is there, all right? So what's it going to be? Looking at it, it's really just simply a rectangle. And what do we get over here? Well, a of x, in this case over here, I'll point this out in the notes to you, by the way, in a second. It's going to be, the height of that is actually minus 1. And the x is just simply x. So it's going to be minus x. All right? So let me point out where this is written down for you. And it's written down right here. All right? I got that right there. Now, someone says, what if you want to, go elsewhere with it? Like you want to go between 1 and 2 now. And so I'm going to put this over here. So if I'm between 1 and 2, I'll put this in like an interval notation. Let me just write that down. Whether x is equal to it or greater than it really doesn't much matter to me. I'll just put this over here. Again, you could also write this down this way as well. Not going to change the story. All right, so let me look at that. And what I want to do is I want to look at what's going on there. So if we're between 1 and 2, well, I know one thing for sure, that I'm going to be getting that area there if I'm between 1 and 2. So I'm going to say if the x is between 1 and 2, and we'll look back over the key, the first thing I do is account for this first rectangle there. And what do you get there? Let's take a look at that. You're going to get, let's take a look at it. You have to be careful too. It's going to be length 1 and then minus 1. So it's minus 1 plus. Then I got to worry about this guy over here. And this is a little bit confusing here. And what I want to do is I want to actually write what the function is for this one over here. And looking at it, I'm going to say, it looks like a line to me. So what's the line going to be? Y equals m. What's the m there? Well, looking at it, it looks like 2. What would the y-intercept be? Well, if you kind of trace this over, I'm going to say it's going to be over here somewhere. All right? Now, looking at it, I'm just kind of looking at it, and I realize that, you go down 2 over 1. You go down 2 over 1. So I'll be at minus 3. So what I'm going to say over here, it doesn't look like a bad integration now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to be starting at, where am I starting at? I'm starting at 1, and I'm going up to x, with the understanding that x is some number below 2. And that's going to be 2x minus 3. I mean to say 2x, sorry about that. It's going to be 2t minus 3 dt. All right, so I'm going to get my eraser out. This is tough, I know that. And I'm going to start doing the work. So a of x, and again, you understand that we're talking about that interval between 1 and 2. It's going to be minus 1 plus, I got to integrate this guy. That's going to be t squared let's see, t squared over 2, the 2 disappears, minus 3t. And then we're going to go from 1 to x. And let's write this down. What do you get? Minus 1 plus, well, x squared minus 3x. Whoops, I put t, I didn't mean x, right? Minus the lower limit, which would be 1 minus 3. I got to simplify it because it looks crazy looking to me. It's minus 1 plus x squared minus 3x. 1 minus 3 is minus 2, and a minus 2 is plus 2. So what do you get over there? You get x squared minus 3x plus 1. I'm sorry, it's 3x. All right, so again, x squared minus 3x plus 1. Let's go back to the key. Let's see if we've done that. And, you know, I mean that too. You want to go back to the key and make sure that you're agreeing with these things. X squared minus 3x plus 1. All right, now what I want to do, I want to kind of move up the food chain. We got those first two over there. And say, you know, what happens if, you know, the x is going to be bigger than the 2. Right, so I'm going to look at the picture again. I want to get my eraser right because I got a lot of chicken scratch over here. But I'm pretty comfortable I got the first two good. I was pretty good in that. So I want to go forward in that. And so where are you going to go now? Well, I'm looking at it, and what I want to do is I want to go, let's see, I want to go where x is going to be above or equal to 2. It doesn't matter if you're saying less than, I'm sorry, greater than or equal, or just simply strictly greater than. And over here is likewise. You could say less than or equal to, or just less than 4. All right. Now looking at this over here, I'm going to just simply, you know, talk about this thing as being somewhat simple. So if I did this one over here, again, we'll look at the key later. It's going to be minus 1. And over here, these two would just cancel off. So I'm going to say that's 0. I'll put that down now. And then we're looking at this area over here. And what would that be? And we're at some value x. All right. We're at some value x. All right. Some value. What's the value going to be? Somewhere between 2 and 4. So, you know, what I'm going to write down is the area then, all right, the area of that, which I'm basically looking at the base of this. And what's it going to be? Well, it's going to be plus, let's see, it's going to be upper minus lower, so x minus 2 times the height of this, which is just the number 1. And I got to go through that with you. Minus 1, and then you can get plus x minus 2. What does that turn out to be? X minus 3. Let's go back up here and see how we did. And that's good too. We got that one covered. All right, that one's done now. All right. Let's keep moving. I'm going to get my eraser out again, and we're moving, you know, through each one separately. And let me just erase this now. We're going to get the next thing up, and again, you may wonder why I'm stopping at these points because things are changing there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go where x is between 4, but it could be equal to it, or it doesn't have to be equal, and then up to 5. All right, I'll put this over here. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm just going to start, you know, looking at the areas, and that's going to be a of x when I'm in these numbers here. What do you get there? That would be minus 1. These would cancel off, right? That's 0. This over here, well, if I looked at it, the base of it's 2 and height's 1, so the area of that's 2. And then what I do, I got to do this thing over here. I got to do the integration of this thing over here. Well, looking at it, I'll put the integration symbol down. It's going to be plus. I'm going to be starting at 4, going up to x, and I want to talk about what the function looks like to me. The first thing I want to notice is over here that there is a slope to it, and the slope appears to be minus 2. So minus 2t, and then I'm going to say plus the y-intercept. And again, this might be tough to deal with, but I want to point out, really, what am I doing? I want to just say, I think I could figure it out by just writing the equation of the line down. And I'll put this over here with the understanding I need a point to get an equation of a line. What's equation of a line? Well, this is going to be the point 4, comma 1, right? So what do you get? You get y minus 1. What's the slope of that? Minus 2. And then you get x minus 4. All right, let me simplify. You get y equals minus 2x. Minus 2 times minus 4 is plus 8. And then you add 1 to both sides. What do you get? You get y equals minus 2x plus 9. So the y-intercept over here is 9. Let me write that down. dt. Let me get my eraser out, kind of get rid of the chicken scratch over here. This should just help me write the problem down. And I got the problem written down. And I got to do my integration now. Right, and again, we're between 4 and 5. So a of x between 4 and 5. Well, I get this number over here, it's just simply 1, and then I got to do this integration over here. And let me write this down. I'm going to say 9t, and then I'm going to say minus t squared. The limits of that integration go from 4 up to x, and yes, I got to do that now. A of x equals 1. The upper limit, I'm sorry, that's an x there, is going to be x, so it's going to be 9x minus x squared. We'll look at the key later. And then I got to do minus the lower limit, and that's going to be 36 minus 16. Let's keep going through that. That's ax. A is a function of x. What do I see? 1 plus 9x minus x squared. 36 minus 16 is going to be 20, so it's going to be minus 20. Let's just clean it up a little bit, and what do you get? I'm going to say you get minus x squared plus 9x, and minus 20 plus 1 is going to be minus 19. And again, let's look at the k and see if we're getting that. And certainly, what am I trying to look for? I'm trying to look for this in the k on that interval, all right? So this is the interval they're talking about, and I see it right now. It's minus x squared, plus 9x minus 19. We're good with that. Let me get my eraser out, and we'll go to the last one, which I'm looking at the picture. It doesn't look bad, all right? I'm going to kind of work my way over, and it's going to be the next place where it changes is at 5. So I'm going to say now that my integration is going to occur above the 5, above or equal to, it doesn't matter, and then up to 6, all right? So what I'm going to do now is just look at it, and as I look at it, it's basically just looking at areas. So minus 1, let me write this down. This cancels off. This is pretty simple. It's 2 by 1, which is 2. You know what? I forgot to write the 0 down. I'll do that now. I'm sorry about that. So minus 1 plus 0. And then it's going to be plus, again, 2 by 1 is 2. Plus, these guys are going to cancel themselves off. And then when you left over here, well, it's really kind of the same story. And I'll write that down for you. The height of it's going to be, by the way, we're looking at the x now. The x is between 5 and 6. What's the height of it? It's minus 1. Now, this is the confusing part over here. I want to point out, it's really just not x, it's x minus 5, upper minus lower. What do you get there? Let's be careful. Minus 1 plus 2 is 1. Then you're going to get minus x plus 5. What does that give you? 6 minus x. And let's take a look if I did that right. I think I might have made a mistake somewhere. I got to be careful, though. And someone says, why are you being careful? I want to go back and see if my key is wrong or I just simply did something wrong. So let me erase this over here and start again. So we're between 5 and 6. Again, including 5 or not including 5 doesn't much matter. Let's just go through it again. This is minus 1. These things will cancel off. That's 0. This over here, the base of it's 2, the height is 1. That's plus 2. Plus, these guys are going to cancel off. Now we're over here, and we're at x. All right? So upper minus lower, that's going to be some number x minus 5. And what's the height of that? Well, looking at it, it's minus 1. Let me do that again. I'm going to have to revise my notes. Second error I caught here. Minus 1 plus 2 is 1. Then you get minus x plus 5. So the answer would be 6 minus x. I made an error over here. And this should be 6 minus x. All right, I'll correct that. All right, so I'm going to say that one's done with the small error, but I'll correct that error. I'm not sure how that happened, by the way. But anyway, I'll erase this over here, and I'll make a correction there. Let's go to the next one. The next one is 2 to x. All right, I'll put this over here. So we're going to do b now. And we're going from 2 to x. And look at my picture. 2 starts here. And let's go for it. All right? Let me get my eraser out too. So looking at it, I'm going to say the first place it changes it at 4. By the way, I hope you remember over here, this function over here is a function of, function of t. and that was minus 2t plus 9. All right, let's do the first one, and let's do when the x is greater than or equal to 2 and less than or equal to 4. Let's put the integration down. And it looks pretty easy. Like I got x here, and basically what I'm doing is I'm going up here somewhere where the x is somewhere between 2 and 4. Looks relatively simple. And why is that? The area of that, well, the base of it's going to be x minus 2, and the height of it is just 1. So what do you get over there? X minus 2, right over there. Again, let's look at the key and see if we got that. And I do see that, x minus 2. And again, we're between 2 and 4. Now what I'm going to do is move on to the next one, and let me get my eraser out and talk about the next one. The next one, I'm going from here up to there. So I'm going to say now the x is from 4, and it's going up to 5. All right, don't worry about the inclusion, by the way. So I'm going to say, I'll do this first, right? I'm definitely above there, so what do you get over there? The a of x here, well, the area of that is going to be 2 times 1, which is 2, and then I got an integration to do. So it's going to be plus, and where are we starting at? We're starting at 4, and we're moving up to x. All right, we're starting at 4, moving up to x. And what's the integrand going to be? Let's see, 9 minus 2t. dt. All right, I got to get my eraser because I'm kind of losing room over here. And I'll put this down. So what do you get over here? A of x equals 2. I'm going to do the antiderivative now. It's going to be 9t minus t squared. And the limits of integration go from 4 up to x. A of x is going to be 2. The upper limit is going to be 9x minus x squared minus the lower limit, which is going to be 36 minus 16. It's almost like deja vu all over again. What's a of x? It's going to be 2 plus 9x minus x squared. 36 minus 16 is 20, so it's minus 20. What do you get over here? A of x is going to be 2 minus 20, which is minus 18. Let me start off with the x squared first, though. Minus x squared plus 9x minus 18. Let's look at the key and see how we did. Mistakes happen. So I got the minus x squared, I got the 9x minus 18. We're good to go. We're going to get the next one. And I'm going to start to erase things. I realize I'm just checking myself as I move along. And let me start to erase this business over here. A tougher problem, isn't it? So we're going to do this next one. And the next changing point is over here. And I'm going to say now the x is between 5 and 6. All right? So what do you do over here? I'm going to do the areas. Where are you starting? You're starting at 2. So what's that going to be? I'll write this down. That's going to be 2 times 1, which is 2. This guy's area, well, that's going to be 0. And then you get this area over here. Let me write that down for you. It's going to be x minus 5. That's upper minus lower. And the height of that's going to be minus 1. So what do you get over there? 2. And then you get minus x plus 5. And what does that give you? 7 minus x. And let's take a look, see if we got that. And we did. We're good to go. We're all right with this picture then. Thank you.